I've made you wait for this one a bit, haven't I? We're coming back to the FMS FCX10 Chevy Blazer. Last time we did a review of it and we saw that the thing had plenty of body roll. It's got beautiful big plush suspension underneath it, but this thing does like to roll. And I also found the foams were really quite soft. They're a Super Swamper-esque looking tyre tread. It says FMS Super Masher. And I also found, you might remember, that the remote diff lock mechanism is actually quite exposed. I have plates for this. I've got metal drive shafts. I've been in touch with Pricey. We did an interview with Pricey of Pricey's custom crawlers recently with the minis. You can check that out there. And I've actually ordered from him a set of shocks to go for this. And what I asked him for is to get the thing to sit lower and to reduce body roll and torque twist. So that's coming in a future video, but today, before we take a screwdriver to this thing, we're going to hit it onto the 6 problem course and see how it stacks up in its stock form. Now remember, if you're new to my channel, my 6 problem course is 6 obstacles, problems 1 to 6, I call them problems. And I've run every crawler I have, and that's behind me. It's kind of dark in there. There are a lot of crawlers there. This is not to see which crawler is the best, it's to see how the crawlers handle these problems. They're fairly extreme problems for an out-of-the-box machine. We don't need them to finish them all. We just want to see how the vehicles run on them. We want to see their handling characteristics. Without further ado, here's problem 1. Let's drive. Okay, this is problem 1. I've never driven this on the 6 problems. Our front is locked, our rear is unlocked. I should probably lock that. And we're in low gear. Now, we don't need this car to finish the problems. We just need to see how it drives so that you have a way to compare the characteristics of this versus others. And in your shoes, I think I'd be looking at this, the TRX4, either of the Broncos or the Defender, the Cross RC AT4 and JT4. Now these are actually quite long shocks and the body sits kind of high, which is typical for these vehicles in real life that they're modelled from. There's a lot of body roll, which is actually also quite faithful to the original. But like I said before, the discussion I've had with Pricey at the comp recently has got me thinking, come on. The discussion I had with Pricey has got me thinking about getting that body to squat down a bit and reducing the body roll. Now for a follow-up video, after we've gotten this baseline and we're about to abort on problem 1, we're going to put a little bit of weight under it. You really need it on a car like this if you're going to crawl. I'm thinking of putting my new TPU foams. I'll just adjust the size. I've just designed a few and I really liked the ones I used at the comp. Problem 1's out. Into problem 2. I'd like to put the TPU inserts I've made into these because I think they might actually work quite well. We're going to put a bash plate under each of the diffs to protect that mechanism. Gee, that's a narrow line here. There we go. And we're also going to look at slowing it down a bit with either gearing or a motor change. The servo's actually fine for what it's doing. It's doing the job, but look at this. The shocks here, really what I want is for the front to drop now. I want the back to compress a bit more. This is partly, there we go. So that's what I wanted to see, but earlier. It's happening later than I'd like. So there we go. It can do problem 2. For problem 3, I've just adjusted its position before we started. It needs to come in from an angle. And I don't think we're going to get this. Now, if we had those heavy wheels I'm using on my comp car, the one I just took first place in at the Nationals, I think we'd have more of a chance. And while I'm talking about changes, I've also looked more into the new series of BS, so the FlySky MG11 or other dash BS radio transmitters and receivers from FlySky, because we've seen a few cars with them recently. What I wanted to know was, can we maybe we like a bit more strength here too. Can we run something like a Fusion, so a different ESC, and still retain the light control and the radio system? Because I like it. Oh, Portal's helping here. Look at that. We might just get it. Maybe. Less likely now. The unfortunate answer is, my friends, no, we can't. You're stuck with the ESC, which means you're stuck with brushless, but brushless can be very good. And this ESC will handle higher turn brushed motors that give you more control, such as the Holmes Hobbies Crawl Master series, and maybe some of the higher turn Torque Masters. There you go. So it can do problem 3. Honestly, I didn't see that coming. That says a lot for its stock geometry, honestly, because I did not think it'd do that. Impressive. Now this is problem 4 with a bit of a top-down angle. I just haven't been too happy with the angle we've been using for years, so we're just going to change it a little bit and see how this goes. The clearance the portals and the size of these tyres give is actually very good. And where the front tyres now will often catch the skid of a car, and the next rock does too. Now I was mentioning motors, I just want to reiterate this in case you weren't convinced. Everyone is saying go for a Fusion, or even for the comp rigs, go for a Rhino Outrunner. They're good, but don't discount the value of a good brushless motor. Holmes Hobbies is, and has been for years, my choice for brush motors. Come on. It should pick up. Oh, I don't want to break the mirror. Let's be careful. Using my comp brain on this. Okay, we'll reset it. Yeah, I think, honestly, you don't actually have to spend a lot either. This car might benefit from a Crawlmaster, which is a 5-pole motor of like a, let's say 16 turn, or perhaps one of the Holmes 40 or 45 turn Torque Masters, even in 540, not 550. There we go. Now, what I'd like to do is unlock the rear, which is, I think, that fella. Why? Well, I actually want the front to pull around. We're going to reverse a bit, but I don't really want it to yank the car backwards. I want the front to kind of be able to pull us forward. And now I see we're not going to have the clearance. See how the back wheel isn't moving? It's because it's unlocked. That means the outside wheel is moving. We're going to lock it again. Nice reliable mechanism too, by the way. And that's why I had it unlocked. I didn't want that to happen. We're going to unlock it again because I don't want forward motion. No. Let me just see. We're going to count 4 as being out. Let's just, I'll lock that rear again. Let's just see if it could have done it, if I could get it lined up. Yeah, it's asking a bit. Quick look underneath. What I'm really concerned with is this mechanism. This locking mechanism is already copping rocks on it. I can see paint's already been scratched off that. I usually don't go for bash plates. Hey, you know what? We'll talk at the end. Now into problem 5. Oh look, we can talk now. I don't usually like putting bash plates underneath. They're a popular accessory and people stick them under their axials and their TRX4s. I don't like them because they stick. Aluminium and even stainless sticks to rock. You want to slide over rocks. However, with such an exposed locking mechanism as this, we're going to have to get that back down because we can't get the front up. If it was metal, it'd be even less likely, but we're going to just try and hook that outside the left wheel up. There we go, there we go. There's body rub. That's the only way I can see to do that. Servo is fading. Let's change cameras. Okay, continuing. So a stronger servo, if we're looking at upgrading this, if you bought this truck and you want to just make it really capable and reliable, I think it will need a new servo. You are stuck with the ESC. Yeah, we're stuck with the ESC, but a nice Holmes motor, and I'll stick one in as part of my upgrade, will slow us down and still give us the punch we need. We can also look at changing the pinion. Oh wow! So it's actually quite capable despite its various oddities with handling. I'm liking this car. At the start of problem 6, you can make a comment now if you want on whether or not you think it'll do it. I would have said no, but remember, it did problem 3, and it made 5 look easy apart from that approach angle where we had to get a tyre in the right spot. Yeah, the servo's browning out now, so I think the servo's tired, or this little fly sky system can't put out enough voltage. Because of that, we might consider a BEC, or if you really want to throw some money at it, a direct voltage servo. The bumper just bent right out then as it went past that rock. So steering we can sort, that's easy enough. I'm running a 3S 700 milliamp hour battery, by the way, just a small one. The same one I test most of my cars on, here, just to make it even. Now that, hang on, that rock shouldn't have moved. Sorry, that rock wasn't quite where it should be. Me or the dog have probably trodden on it and moved it. I try and keep things roughly the same for all our tests. No, that's probably not quite right. Anyway, the problem remains now. We're going to actually unlock the rear because I don't want it really... No, we can't get away with it. I don't really want it dragging forward too much yet. I could just see it rolling off. So we had a problem with the approach angle before on 5. Now we're having a problem with departure angle, which is the angle from the bottom of your rear tyre to that bumper. It's acting kind of like a shovel getting under the rocks. There's a very capable vehicle hiding in this, but the ESC is having a tough time. Do you know what? I'm going to recommend you running this on 2S, not 3S. The extra voltage pushes these electronics a bit harder, and I'm seeing a brownout, I think, with the whole system. Whether that's related to the fact that the motor's asking a lot, or whether it's happening because the servo is just pulling too much power for its little built-in BEC, I don't know. There we go, we're up. Okay, unlocking the rear. But power is an issue. We're stuck with the receiver if you want to keep this lovely radio. I've just got the rear unlocked, so it's not doing anything, and now it's locked again. Unlocking. This is the best chance we've got, honestly. There. I'm going to lock it mid-climb. I don't usually like doing that, but actually we're going to lock now. It's a beautiful mechanism, I tell you what. It engages and disengages when you want it to. Come on. Gee. It's so close. Anyone who watches this channel regularly will know just how on the edge we are to success. It's so very close. I don't think it's going to do it. Yeah. Got close, didn't it? Gee, that wasn't a bad attempt, was it? Remember, the servo's on the axle on this car, which is great for crawling, just not great for scale. We can mount it up there easily enough, and there's room for a pan hub. We talked about that in the review. The motor should be pretty warm. No, it's not. Okay, so we were having some brownouts during the run. Let me just get some fingers on the ESC, wherever it is on this side. Oh, it's in the middle, isn't it? In front of the battery tray. Let's have a feel here. Not as hot as I thought. Well, that's interesting. Okay, you might get away with the 3S and be just fine then, even with hard crawling like that. I was saying I don't like bash plates on the diffs, I also don't like them on the skid. You don't want to hear that sound, you want to hear that sound underneath. There are a lot of scratches, and particularly the profile of this thing, it wraps around the front. I'm even tempted to remove this bash plate because it probably serves no purpose, except keeps your plastic looking nice underneath, but you'll never see it if you have the bash plate on, so that's odd. I'd need to have a look at the profile of it, but I think that might be removing. Just 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's off. And that's going to help you slide across in a way that metal just doesn't. Unfortunately, we need to put it on the diffs to protect these little delicate mechanisms, because that little arm moving there, oh, it's just one bad knock away from snapping something. But look, the good news is there's not a scratch, and you saw the kind of crawling we just did. It wasn't a lot, but it was extreme. There's not a scratch on these diffs. So, oh no, there is, I'm sorry, there is a scratch on the rear where it hit as it departed in a couple of places, probably from problem 6 here. I still suspect that those plates won't take a beating. Really, their only function is to protect these shifting mechanisms, because it's a weakness of this design. The internal mechanism we see in almost every other manufacturer, in fact, every other manufacturer, is superior in my opinion. Having said that, it survived, it shifted beautifully, like it should. I'm actually very happy with this thing mechanically, and it climbed better than I thought. We got problem 2, problem 3, problem 5. That's 3 out of 6, which puts it probably slightly above average for a full fat car like this out of the box. Remembering that the Cross RC has like 160 gram wheels, because it's got really heavy mass wheels that come with the kit. Next video, when we look at this, I'm going to have some of that weight down low. We'll have some of the protection, and we'll make some electronics changes. I'll keep it to a reasonable budget, but we're also going to stick pricey shocks on. I want to, let's see here, I want to get that ride height down to about that, and I want it to maintain that and then drop a leg when it needs to and not when it doesn't, and get rid of some of that body roll. That's going to be an interesting one. Today though, out of the box, we have our baseline for testing the mods later. 2, 3, and 5, so we'll remember that for next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Throw me a like and I'll catch you again on RC-TNT. Cheers.